Hello, welcome back to the channel. For all the new subscribers, thank you for subscribing. Please hit that bell icon to be notified of when I do post up a new video, because maybe you're not interested in this video, but maybe you'll be interested in the next video I do, or so on and so forth. A lot of you have been on YouTube for years. You all know the drill. So anyways, let me get on to what's going on here. I am tearing up the front walkway because it does look nice, but unfortunately I have a lot of grass and weeds that are growing in between the larger slabs, because all there is, hopefully you can tell in the frame, if it's in frame I can't tell from the camera, weed cloth. The large slabs are placed on top with the smaller river pebbles sprinkled in between. And again, it looks nice, but it's not all that great for numerous reasons, and one of them being is that dirt obviously gets in between the stones here, and then grass and weeds tend to grow up in between, and I have to then try to clean. And you may have seen some of my other videos where I've tried to weed this out and clean this out. I've used torches, which works, but again, when that weed or grass burns down, it leaves an ash, which again is a medium that plants can grow into, especially weeds. Weeds can grow in pretty much anything. Grass can pretty much grow in anything. It's pretty amazing. And of course I've used weed killer or organic weed killer, but again, they just keep coming back, because again, even if you do kill them, it then breaks down into material, a medium that then future weeds and grass can grow into. So I have a couple of choices here. I can tear it all up, clean it all out, maybe lay down new weed fabric because grass is growing already through the weed fabric, and then re-put down all of this, or I can go a completely different route, which is what I'm choosing to do. I'm going to choose to do a brick walkway here. It's something my wife and I have discussed. We think it'll look nice, and it'll also provide a more stable walking surface. One of the other downsides to this system is that occasionally pebbles, for whatever reason, get underneath the larger slabs, thus making the slabs rock a little bit and thus unstable, and it's never fun. And it's also a little unnerving when you're walking on this after a heavy rain and you hear the squishy squish underneath your feet as you go wobbling on the slabs. Not very fun, not very good. So this is all coming up, but it's not going to be today. I just wanted to let you guys know what's happening. I'm going to be working on this probably for the next few weeks, and there will be videos on this. And FYI, I will not be doing a DIY. I will take you along the process. I'll show you what I'm doing, but it is by no means a do-it-yourself explanation or tutorial, because I am no professional bricklayer. I am no professional path layer. I've just researched stuff on the interwebs like all of you can do, and I'll just, again, take you along, show you what I'm doing and why I may be doing things a certain way. All of that being said, let's move on to something plant-related today. Okay, so we're in the greenhouse, and it is warm in the greenhouse. I think the current temperature is currently just a little over 80. I do have the roof vents open, I should say, and the side vent automatically opens. But the sun does heat things up in here quite well. And today it's supposed to be 60 degrees out. So the sun, the warm air temperature really warms the greenhouse up, which is nice because everything in here, of course, likes that I'm trying to keep alive, that I'm trying to grow. It, again, enjoys the warmer temperatures as opposed to the colder temperatures. And the passive heating system that I have, which primarily consists of water jugs that are spray painted black, they're absorbing all this heat. So at nighttime, the temperature may only get down to, let's say, 50 or 60, as opposed to the outside temperature, which literally get down to freezing. So that's all pretty cool. But none of that has to do anything with the plant that I'm just talking about just a second ago. In this pot here, I have a bleeding heart. Apparently it's a pink bleeding heart, according to the sign here. And it's gotten knocked over. Let me show you there. It's lost some dirt, and it's done well for me over the last few years, and right now it's dormant, but in a few months it will be coming back to life. So I have a couple of choices. I can turn around and just top off the pot, or I can turn around and maybe repot this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig it up a bit, take a look at it, and maybe repot this all together, or just add more potting soil. I'm not an expert in bleeding hearts. I've grown bleeding hearts for numerous years. I had them in the ground when I lived in New York because they were in a nice shady part of the yard. Here, unfortunately, I do not have a lot of shade. And what I've decided to do with them, at least until I'm more familiar with the heat and the shade and yada, 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 or maybe I create more shade by planting stuff, I keep them at the edge of my deck behind the house, and that spot is very shady. It gets a very little bit of sun in the afternoon, probably about an hour, hour and a half, which is perfectly fine. And then, I mean, again, the plant last year looked wonderful. I don't know if I have any photos. If I have any photos, I will post them up here. It also has a friend. I got another friend last year. It was a 3-for-1 sale, I believe. So I got 3 bleeding hearts. It was like end of the year, or beginning of the spring, I should say, clearance sale from one of the online stores. If you're just starting off in gardening, definitely keep your eye open for the online stores, Brex, White Flower Farms, Spring Hill. I can probably go on and list a few. If you know of any of that online stores that do have those, sales at the beginning of the springtime, looking to clear out all their plants, please leave those comments below. There's a ton of them out there. So I'm going to take a look at this here real quick. I'll pull you and got you guys in here closer. I'm going to grab, what happened to my other shovel? I had a shovel here, it's lost. But I'm going to grab this one. Now the plant is dormant right now, so theoretically I shouldn't be hurting it. I think this was all of last year's growth, maybe. Let's pull up the roots here. Yeah, I think that was like last year's crown. I already see one new bud. All right, this looks blurry, but maybe you can see it right there, right where my thumb is. One new bud already coming up. I think I'll dump this all into the compost pile, and then we'll put fresh potting soil in here and replant it. And since it's only 1 bleeding heart, I will keep it in a smaller pot. Now, from my understanding, bleeding hearts don't need to be planted too deep. So we're just going to do something like that. Here's my bleeding heart. Again, there's the 1 new bud. There we go. And what I'm going to do is just fill this up, basically right to where my hand is, towards the top here. Water it in, and this guy is good. All right. We'll put that label back in. Break out the little water container here. Now, we just had all those days of rain recently, but the soil here is pretty dry. So again, I'm just going to give it a soak. Plus, it's not supposed to rain until next Saturday. Give it a good soak now, and then it should be fine until this upcoming Saturday. Okay, so that one was the small one where I had 1. I might have had 3 in there at one time because I did find what looked like roots or tubers or whatever bleeding hearts grow from. The roots look tubers because they're very thick. But again, I'm not a horticulturalist, and I didn't Google this before I started talking. So if you've grown bleeding hearts before, please leave in the comments below. In this pot, this is where I planted the 3, hence the reason the pot's bigger and heavier. So right now it's a bit of a mess. There's the mulch from last year, and I got some weeds in here. So I'm just going to take a minute, clean it up, and I think what I will do is also pull the roots out of here, and then maybe just top off the potting compost. This is only 1-year-old potting compost. Maybe I'll put some earthworm castings in here just to give it a little extra fertilizer. The plants aren't really going to do anything for another couple of months, but it can't really hurt, can it? All right, so I'm just going to pick these weeds out of here. You know what? I think I'm going to scrape back some of this mulch. I have a bucket beneath my feet that I'm just dumping all this in, and that will eventually go into the compost. If you're new to gardening, if you stumbled across this channel because you're thinking about gardening, please, please, please look into composting. There's all sorts of different methods and methodologies you can use to compost. It's a fairly easy process, and it's, it can wind up saving you money in the long term, which is a great thing. And there's a lot of videos out there about composting. It's not really difficult, but I would highly suggest you do it for numerous reasons. And again, I won't get into those today because we're talking about repotting these guys. So let me see if we can dig these up, and let's see what we'll have cooking here. Oop, I got some roots. Oh, there's one. All right, so we got one. Grubs, or a grub. Ew. Okay, I got one plant. I think this is all on camera. Oh yeah, look at it, it's already budding, which is great. Oh, this looks big and healthy. Again, that's great. Okay. All right, so we'll put that to the side. Oh, this is another beauty. Get out of there, grub. I don't know if the grubs would actually hurt the plant, but there's no reason for them to be there. Again, this looks nice and healthy. No signs of rot. Lots of little buds, just great. Oh, another grub. Nasty little buggers. Trying to get my hand underneath it, gently pry it up. Oh, this is beautiful. So I have 3 good, healthy bleeding hearts. There's another grub. You know what I'm thinking? Again, I don't know if the grubs would hurt anything or help, but I'm thinking maybe I'll just dump all this and put fresh potting soil in here as well. That's a grub. It's amazing how many of these guys are in there. All right, so let me dump this and then we'll start over. Oh, and there's another grub. Just gonna put a crock here on the bottom, or a piece of broken pottery, and just do that to prevent some of the soil from falling out. And now we'll fill it up. You don't want to ever block the water hole, drain hole. I think that's fairly obvious. If you block that drain hole and you get a lot of moisture or rain, again, this is for the amateurs out there like me, you'll just make the pot into one big mess. Actually, I had that happen fairly recently. I had this lovely set of succulents here in this pot that I bought, and I was watering it, and one day I noticed that there was a lot of water standing in there. I couldn't figure out why. So I picked it up and I drained it out, and then I noticed there's a sticker right over the drain hole. So of course I broke that, and once I did that, all the water came pouring out because succulents do not like to sit in water. All right, now I got the 3 bleeding hearts in there, and the tips here pretty close to the top, which is fine. They'll be a little lower, again, which is good. And I'm just going to top this off now with some soil. Hey, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps the YouTube algorithm and the YouTube gods, and maybe they'll share this video out to more people. And the more people we get on the channel, hopefully the more comments, and the more comments, the more people, and it'll all be wonderful. So there you go. Pot's all topped off. This will sink down, obviously. I'm actually going to give this water right now. Use the big water pot for this guy. All right, that should be good. Again, the bleeding hearts look like they're in a dormant state, but I'm sure that they're going to start really coming to life in the next month or so. I don't know if they'll... I honestly never paid attention whether they come up before the last frost or after the last frost or somewhere in between. Maybe I will pay attention this year. It's all part of growing your green finger, I guess, right? Although all I know is that they do have some nice foliage, and then they of course have the beautiful flowers that they present in the springtime. If you don't know what a bleeding heart looks like, here's a picture. They're quite lovely. I believe they come in a couple of different shades. There's even a white bleeding heart I had in New York. It was absolutely awesome. Bleeding hearts are funny, but I do like the way they look. They're pretty. Again, if you're new, if you've never grown bleeding hearts, words are hard, bleeding hearts before, they come up in the springtime, they put on a nice flower show, and then they pretty much die back by, I would say midsummer, they're gone. They're gone. They go dormant for the summer. The heat of the summer, they can't stand it. They don't like it. They go dormant, save up their energy for the following spring, and then they come back and they put on a show again. It's one of the early flowering plants for springtime, which is really, really awesome. Leave comments below if you've grown bleeding hearts, you know where they come from. If you're a beginner gardener, and if you've stumbled across this channel because you're a beginner gardener and all, grow bleeding hearts. They're fairly easy to take care of. They come up in the spring, and again by midsummer they're gone, but they're not dead. They're just dormant. They just chill out until the following springtime. If you like this shirt, keep calm and garden on. And I have a bunch of other shirts, some with the logos, and hopefully in the next few months I'm going to have more coming up with some goofy pictures on them. If you like all of that, please head over to my website, growinggreenfinger.com. Scroll all the way to the bottom. There's a link called store or stuff or something. Please pick yourself up a t-shirt, hoodie, coffee mug. I have coffee mugs with a nice little sunflower on them. All sorts of merchandise. So head over there if you'd like to support the channel. Or just tell your friends, families, and loved ones and grumpy old guy across the street that I've got this channel. Share this video on your other social medias. Let people know I'm here. I'm growing a garden in growing zone 8A, Eastern North Carolina. There's so much coming up in the springtime. There's going to be some new beds in the vegetable garden. If you've been following along, you've been seeing me put the new birdies beds in. I still have to finish them and get them prepped for spring. I've already started planting in one. I started in my seed bed already because there are some seeds that require a little bit of cold, and they're going to require, and they have a long germination rate, 10 to 12 weeks before they start germinating. So I've already started them in one of my outdoor seed beds. I'll be doing more in-ground seed, the whole seed bed thing. I'll explain more of that later in the year when we get to that point. I've started planting back here in the wood trays here, foxglove. And there was something else that I started here, sea holly. So I started sea holly and foxglove seeds. I'm going to try to grow them here in the greenhouse. Again, it's pretty warm in here today. Again, it's 80. For the next, few days, we're going to be around that 60-degree mark, which means it'll be warm even with the door open and everything open, which is great. Again, it'll help the seedlings. We will get cold nights still, and the temperature in the greenhouse will drop down. But this will be an experiment to see, because I've never grown in a greenhouse before. What can I grow in the greenhouse? What will grow? How will it grow without using like a heating mat or something? Speaking of heating mats, I still have my seed station in the garage, which I will be starting seeds in upcoming. Probably do a quick video about that. I've done longer videos about that the last couple of years, and I don't want to bore you guys. You can go back and check those videos out. Or if you'd like a long, drawn-out, boring video about my seed station, please leave those comments below. Let me know what you'd like to see. I have many winter projects still to do. I have gates to build. I have posts to put into the ground. I have, like I said, birdies beds to fill. So much coming up. So again, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Click that bell icon to be notified when I do post up a new video. That's going to do it for today. I'm going to catch you on the next one.